The classic pitfall of most jazz guitarists is learning songs with the same practice habits they have done when learning other genres. Repertoire should be central to practice, but what mistakes might you be making, and what do successful jazz musicians specifically do to master a standard? Because consistent and deliberate practice paired with the right habits can really transform your relationship with the repertoire you're learning. Firstly, why might the genre or genres you previously played be hindering your learning of jazz repertoire? Well, the majority of music played on the guitar is often a case of replicating what is heard on a recording. I think back to my formative years of playing in my bedroom as a teenager, imitating the likes of Hendrix, the Beatles or B.B. King, and my aim would be to directly imitate what they were playing. There's of course nothing wrong with that, but at its core, the genre of jazz should be about individual interpretation. One way you could try and learn jazz is taking the real book and taking it at face value. This is how you play the chords, that's how you play the melody, job done. And now, I'm not hating on the real book, I think it has a place, but let's consider another way. I think a big difference in the way a jazz musician approaches practicing songs can be broken down into three different things. Firstly, an obsession with a song. The second one, developing their own interpretation of a standard. And thirdly, that being a lifelong work in progress. Essentially, you have a working relationship with that standard for as long as you're going to play guitar. And with all those things in place, if you had to play, say, Autumn Leaves in the key of D flat, you'd be able to. Let me break down how I view the different stages of learning a song and how your playing and understanding of that song can change and develop in a positive way over time. At level 1, you're playing the melody, perhaps you've learnt it from the real book, but through sticking with it, you end up memorising it, and it moves beyond notes on a page or on a fretboard to an internalised melody that sticks with you. Ideally, a melody should be learned by ear, but that is naturally harder to begin with. But personally, I would argue it's better for long-term results and your understanding of that standard and your memory of that song. In an ideal world, you would also understand the melody, e.g. what the intervals are. This is essential if you want to play chord melody playing or to transpose the song to another key. Now at level 2, your playing of the melody moves beyond the basics and you begin to vary the melody. Melodic variation might take the form of, say, playing with the rhythm of the melody, including expressive techniques, octave displacement, dynamics, or embellishing the melody. One way I got started with this is imitating how my favourite artists interpreted melodies to the songs I was learning. And with songs I've been playing for a long time, I now end up playing them in my own way, my interpretation of it, and it will come out differently from gig to gig unless it's something I say play in unison or harmony with another musician. If that's the case, I need to be playing level 1 style, by the book. And then at level 3, you are so confident with that melody that you can play it in different registers, so in different locations on your instrument, and then move on to playing it in other keys, which is quite a daunting task if you don't understand a melody or haven't learnt it in the right way. And finally, with a solid grasp of it and the ability to play it across the fretboard, you'd be able to harmonise it into a chord melody. Now, I think there's a compounding effect to this methodical approach. For a start, a deeper connection with the song that in turn makes soloing much easier because you internalise that melody and the changes at the same time. If you've taken the song this far, your solo could even just be a melodic variation. Plenty of greats do that as the first chorus or couple choruses of their solo. But the main benefit is that internalisation of the sound of the chord changes and the melody, which makes it so much easier to come up with improvised lines over those changes. Because those chord changes have more meaning as they become the song rather than a set of 2-5-1s or whatever progression the standard might be. Now, new for 2025 on my Patreon page, I'm incorporating this level 1, 2, 3 approach so that I can teach and share ideas to suit different levels more readily. So from now on, for each standard of the month, there is a differentiated comping and melody study. And one thing you might find with this approach is you might have to be more organised, and rather than say a long list of songs, you might work on less, but work on knowing those standards really well. I always think it's better to say know 10 songs really well than 30, 40 songs that you half know and that you always need to fish out the music for. I think on a personal level, if you really want to get good at jazz guitar, It requires a serious amount of determination, obsessiveness, and a long-term outlook. My personal feeling is that it's the third one that is the most challenging for most people. Now, not all songs stick, but what if this year you made a decision to just keep one song part of your practice throughout the year? I'm sure you'll notice how that benefits your understanding of that song. And one thing I hope this video is making you think about is how you are currently approaching learning melodies. I personally have ones that are a core part of my repertoire that I maintain, ones that I need to be able to play at gigs, and you might want to do the same for certain songs too. Now, I don't think you could pick a better standard than All the Things You Are for this task. If it's one you haven't gotten around to learning, then check out my lesson on the changes. I'll put it on the screen. I'm sure there's plenty in this video most can relate to, so please leave a comment below about your experience of learning repertoire. And don't forget, jazz guitar lessons are uploaded now every Monday here on YouTube. Until next time, you take care.